Hi students, welcome to video lecture series Renewable Energy Resources. Today's class we are going to discuss about the energy resource classification. Module 1, Introduction to Energy Resources. Energy resources. So energy resources can be classified on the basis of usability of the energy resources or traditional usage of energy resources or long-term availability of energy resources. Before that, what is energy resources? The energy resources are the main source of the energy, where the energy is extracted and utilized for the purpose or mankind operations. So energy resources is the main source of energy from which the energy can be extracted and utilized for the application purpose. Because energy is the key input in economic growth of any country. The growth of nation is largely depends upon the availability of the energy resources. So the source of energy is classified into two types normally. That is, we are used to say that conventional energy and non-conventional energy, commercial energy and non-commercial energy. Basically, the source of energy is converted into two types, that is primary energy and secondary energy. Then it is according to the resources utilized is classified into conventional sources and non-conventional sources. Again, it is converted into renewable sources and non-renewable sources. And again, it will be converted into commercial sources and non-commercial sources. So first we will see the basic classification of the traditional classification of the energy resources are primary energy resources and secondary energy resources. Primary energy resources in the sense the resources available in the nature in the form of raw nature, in the raw form, that is called as primary resources. For example, fossil fuels. We cannot able to use the same elements or the same resources directly for the generation of energy. For example, fossil fuels, uranium, hydropower are the primary energy resources. We cannot able to use the same resources for the energy as a energy. These energy resources cannot be used in the raw form. The primary energy resources located and extracted, processed and converted into suitable form before the use of this energy. That is nothing but primary energy resources. For example, solar, wind, chemical, geothermal, hydroelectric, nuclear hydropower. These are all the primary resources. Secondary resources in the sense, these resources are obtained from the primary energy resources by processing. Processing helps in transformation of primary resources into secondary, that is usable energy form that can be utilized by the consumers. With the help of coal, we can go for the electricity generation. With the help of solar, we can go with the electricity generation. With the help of oil, crude oil, we can go with the petrol, diesel or LNG, CNG gases. These are all the secondary resources. Next one is a conventional resources and non-conventional resources. This is nothing but primary energy. Crude oil, hot coal, natural gas, waste, wind, geothermal. These are all the primary energy. Secondary energy is nothing but the product, petroleum products, fuel, gases, electricity, heat energy, biofuels to the consumer. Second one is energy resources classification is conventional energy resources and non-conventional energy resources. Conventional energy resources which are traditionally used for many years. They are the energy which is stored within the earth and the sea. They include both fossil fuels as well as nuclear energy and required human intervention to release the energy from them, from these resources. These resources are widely used and likely to be depleted once this is over. The energy resources are over. We cannot able to recreate it. If you want to go for the recreation, it takes nearly 1400 years. That is nothing but conventional energy resources. These have been used for many years for the generation. But these resources can be easily converted into mechanical energy. Advantage cost is it is very less security convenience method. We can easily transport and transfer. Disadvantages in the sense we are using fossil fuels which will generate some noise or which will affect the ecological system. It produce more carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide and sulfur oxide which will affect the mankind. Safety technical issues with the nuclear energy plant. Non-conventional energy resources in the sense it is a non-traditional energy resources. These resources require some costly method to be converted into mechanical energy. It is non-depletable, that is inexhaustible. It is always abundant, replaceable. We can reuse it. These are all the alternate energy resources to the conventional energy resources. The conventional energy resources are likely to be depleted into 15 to 60 years, but non-conventional is it is fully developed. The cost factor and overall performance is very good, and the energy is passing through the environment as a current or as a flow. The next one is the renewable and non-renewable energy resources. Renewable is nothing but it is renewed by the nature again and again. The resources can be renewed by nature. That is renewable again and again. So the supply is not affected by the rate of their consumption. Non-renewable is nothing but it is having finite amount of quantity which is available, cannot be replenished. That means you cannot regenerate it. It is called as non-renewable. Renewable resources are inexhaustible resources. Inexhaustible in the sense it is replaceable. We can use it for years of years. They are non-traditional in use. New methods are to be developed for the usage of the resources. For example, hydel power stations, solar, wind, tidal, geothermal resources. Non-renewable in the sense we are talking about it is the source which is exhaustible. Once it is over, that means it is burnt. We cannot be go for the reuse of the resources. Once the resources are empty or it is cleaned, then we cannot able to go for that. It is a traditional method. It is widely used for the energy resources, but it is a pollution. It is affecting the ecological system because most of the times we are using the natural gases, fossil fuels, and nuclear fuels. And We have another type also, that is commercial and non-commercial. Commercial in the sense secondary usable energy resources, which is used for the commercial purpose like petrol, diesel, CNG gases, LPG gases for the domestic hold applications. The economy of the nation is highly depends upon the ability to process and transform the natural raw energy sources into usable commercial energy resources. So we have to go with the commercial resources only. Whatever the raw we are getting, that has to be converted into commercial energy. Non-commercial energies are, it is directly from the nature, so we can use without passing any commercial outlet, like wood, animal dung, animal cake, that is dung cake, crops, wastage of agriculture wastages, vegetation wastages, forest wastages. These are all the non-commercial energies. So here the fossil fuels are again classified into three types. One is solid fossil fuels, liquid fossil fuels, gaseous fuels. Solid fuels in the sense wood, coal, coke, and charcoal. Liquid fuels are diesel, petrol, kerosene. And gaseous fuels are coal, gas, LPG, LNG, and biogas. Energy resources, in that oil reserves nearly 1015 thousands of millions barrels are reserved every year. Any shortage comes, these countries will provide this based upon the demand. There is uneven distribution of the oil reserves across the world. The crude oil is a finite resources. They will run for the shorter time. This is very expensive. And these are the regions where the crude oils are reserved for India, like Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Eastern Gujarat, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Tripura, Nagaland. These are all the crude oil reservation places, that is storing the resources. Natural gas. It is also the bigger, 152 trillion cubic meters are available. The gas is more difficult to transmit and trade. Any leakage of gas which will affect the entire system, entire area will be demolished. In 2001, the world gas consumption rate is nearly 2.5 trillion cubic per meters per annum. So total gas production is given here year wise, financial year wise in India. So 2018-19, yearly we have generated 32.87 percentage of the gas. Onshore and offshore productions. Onshore is nothing but in the field. Offshore in the sense it is near under the water. Coal. Coal is an main thing. In India, it has been mined from 1977, and now the second fastest mined in the world. Coal production, India is the second largest the country, producing nearly 716 million metric tons. Due to high demand and poor average quality, the India imports coking coal to meet the requirement of the steel plants. For the steel plants required more heat has to be generated in the steel plants. For that, India is importing the coal, coking coal. Uranium and thorium are the main atomic minerals. India produces 2% of the world's uranium and reserves nearly 30,480 tons uranium. Uranium is a silver gray metallic radioactive element. It is naturally formed in supernova explosions. Uranium, thorium, potassium are the main elements contributing for the natural terrestrial radioactivity. Next is hydroelectric power. Here the electricity is produced by making the flow of water from high pressure density to the low pressure density. So here, what is the thing in the sense there is a dam or a reservoir which saves the water from the rain and other kind of rivers, and there is a penstock which will control the flow of water, and whenever the address is moved, that time the water will be going to this point where turbine is there, the water flow, the fast in the water flow which will hit the turbine to rotate, and the turbine is connected with the generator. It is also called as turbo generator, which will produce the electricity. This is the principle is used for the hydroelectric power generation. So hydropower is normally depend upon the rainfall and climate change. Large hydropower which will produce nearly 30 megahertz, and small hydropower projects will produce 10 megawatts, and micro hydropower will generate 100 kilowatts. So the small or micro electric power systems produce energy electricity for the home appliances, farms and villages. Thank you.